Hi there. We are live and welcome to Scotch on the Bayou Live. I am Leanne. We are going to have such great fun tonight talking about our whiskey journey. And I am blown away because y'all came to the party and it's here. I have so many people already here in the chat, and I want to do a shout out for y'all. But yeah, welcome. And we're going to be talking tonight. I'm so excited because I've got two of my best buds going to join me to talk about the whiskey journey, and everyone, we all have our own path to go and explore this road and where it leads us and how we are getting to a destination. Is it really a destination? Is it more, the trip is really about getting there than the actual final destination? I don't think there's a final destination in a whiskey journey, is there? I will say the 34-year-old Brora up in Indy with my boys from Scotch for Dummies, that was a really nice milestone, but I don't know that that was the final destination. And so tonight we're going to be talking about, how we started, where we're going, what we encounter, and especially who we encounter as we go through our whiskey journey. It can be quite enlightening, the journey, definitely adventurous to different degrees. I can say that in my almost 6-year journey, I've been quite adventurous. And sometimes there's a fine line between brave and dumb. And I've straddled that a couple of times, but I've come out okay every single time. So I like my chances. The journey could be expensive at times. This is not cheap, a cheap hobby. But there's also a lot of sharing that goes along, and what you give, you end up getting usually 2 and 3-fold back. And it's very engaging. Our journey, I find, is it puts us in a place where we can be around lots of other different people and see perspectives that we don't necessarily are exposed to all the time. So I think that's one of those really great things about this whiskey journey. But most of all, it's personal, right? It's our journey. It's how we interact with the whiskey and what our relationship is with it. Being a healthy relationship with it. But are you a geek? Do you get into the chemistry and the nerdness of whiskey, or do you just like sipping it? Everyone's journey is their own. So we're going to be talking a whole lot more about that. And we'll also want to do a couple of shout outs. I'm going to just say hey to everybody in the chat right now. Hooray for Too Slow. You aren't too slow. You were fast. You were the first one in here tonight. And hey to Alex England. Hello. Great seeing you, Brian. Kilco Whiskey. Check him out on YouTube. And I believe, Brian, put in here, you go live on Friday nights, right? I want to make sure. Hey, brother. My brother Ethan. One of our guests is this guy is going to be on here in a bit, Mr. Zach Andrews. And hey, Richard, good to see you. Yeah, what's everybody sipping tonight? My guests and I have chosen our own starter drams. That funny enough, starter drams that kind of got us started. At least mine is. So we'll be able to kind of go through that. Yes, this is where the party is, and this is the MVP of the day. Drew Bills continues to be St. Drew when it comes to helping me with tech. So thank you, my friend. Mwah. Love you and mean it. So let's see. So Richard's got a couple of drams, a Causeway Bushmills 1046. Okay. And then a 43-year-old Glendella. I'm going to say that. It's Glendella. And it's March. Yes, it's very close. We're going to be talking a lot of Irish next week at this time. So those are very interesting. I'll have to check those out. Definitely so, Richard. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And hey, John, good to see you. Thanks for being here again tonight. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I am going to unapologetically put this up. I am really trying to, I'd love like 1 month from now. Yeah, on the 4th actually, is a year for the channel. I'd love to hit that 1,000 if I can, and that'd be awesome. And here, my little brother, inside joke. Hey, Mr. Mark Rhoda, good to see you. Thanks for being here, friend. Oh, goodness. Awesome. Yay. Lots of folks in, and we even have representing Canada, Chad Anderson. Thanks so much. I'm so glad you made it too. Woohoo. Awesome. Goodness. Who else have we got in here? Oh, Kim Radder. Where's Jim? There's Jim. Hey, Jim. I'm guessing Highland Park tonight. It's a pretty good odds. Guy really likes Highland Park. What's not to love? Oh, hey, Molasses. Thank you. Scotch on the Bayou, Slàinte, y'all. Yes, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And yeah, tell me what y'all are drinking. I'm gonna reveal mine here in a moment. And this guy, Jamie Jazz, thank you, friend, for being here, and all the other fine whiskey folk. Isn't that something? All these whiskey folks, and so many of you I have known through other channels, and that's part of the journey, right? And we're really going to talk about that, because these two guys that I met tonight, they're coming on tonight, that I met through the journey and through other channels, and just the evolution of it. And I'm really super stoked about that fun stuff. And Michael, Sunday Evening Scotch, go find him on Instagram. Friend, thanks for being here. I know you have a lot of obligations with little ones. I appreciate you popping in here. Awesome. Yeah, truly. So there's this term called 60-minute syndrome. So by the time 60 minutes comes on Sunday evening, you're thinking, oh, my weekend's done and tomorrow's work. Don't think about that. Just go to Instagram and go find Sunday Evening Scotch. And it gives you a whole different paradigm of thinking, that you can think about the dram he's having usually by the fireside, of his fire pit outside or something like that. And that's a much better way to go into Monday than 60-minute syndrome, for sure. Thanks for being here, Michael. And awesome. Yes. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you very much, George. Thank you very much. And what a beautiful segue, because I do want to do some shout outs for International Women's Day. First and foremost, well, I think it's nice that there is a day to say, ta-da, let's honor women. Because women make a big contribution to most everything we endeavor, especially in the whiskey world. There's so many rock star women in the whiskey world. I've gotten to meet a couple of them, and I just am in awe of what they're able to do. And I'll get to that in a sec. But first and foremost, I want to shout out to my mother, Marilyn, who is she gave me a picture over here, and I'm gonna get a little verklempt. She said the picture says she believed she could, so she did. And so I want to honor my mom. Please raise your glass to toast the women in your life who have been the rock stars and have told you can do anything you want to. And that includes a YouTube channel. So shout out to my mom. Cheers to her. Cheers to my friends, Kristen and Jennifer, especially for being the wind beneath my wings kind of thing. I'm going to turn over here and a shout out. You'll see Mr. Harry Styles back here. That's a little contribution to the studio from my friend Kristen. Jennifer, my roommate from the Iowa Whisky Academy, is an absolute rock star. She is the best palate I think I've ever encountered. And the women that I've met within this industry has been really something, because people like Rachel McNeil at the Iowa Whisky Academy, the women who make this whiskey, when we were there, we were seeing the manager of Kilhoman is a woman. The women, there's still women that are running stills on Isla that you may not really think about, but they're the ones that are doing that. And especially, the ones that have the nose, the ones that really have the blending down. So cheers to the women in the industry. Cheers to the women in your life. And every day is Women's Day. And thanks, guys, for all the support. So, Slàinte. Oh, that's my yummy dram. Love that dram. We'll get to it. So hubby's on. Mark Rayner. Hey, darling. And Daniel. Hey, Daniel. Your ears might burn tonight a little bit on the story we're going to tell. So glad you're here with us. And Richard. Hey, Richard, you made it. You did make it. Yay. Thanks for being here, friend. I appreciate that. My brother. Yes. He's drinking a nice 2022 Dr. Pepper. I'm glad it's from this year and not something that was back of your cupboard. But yeah, so my brother is responsible for all of my wonderful graphics and big time support for sure. Let's see who else we have. There's Chad and Jim and this guy. Hey, Trooper. Good to see you. Just getting back. Oh, man. Oh, that Tausker. Is that I'm thinking that's a travel exclusive, huh? I want to say that is. I'm not quite sure, but anything with Tauskers, I usually like it. And Steve A, thank you for being here, friend. This is awesome. Great deal. And then we've got Mark in. The Cuddy Sark Prohibition. I have a friend that's got a bottle of that for me. I need to do. It's the only thing get in the stomach. Cause chaos. Okay. That's I hear it's pretty tasty. That's great. So yeah, Sun Evening Scotch. Thanks for the that perspective. I love it. Yeah, positive, right? Why go into Monday with dread when you could look at your beautiful pictures? But yeah, awesome. Cool guys. Well, we're gonna get in there. We're gonna get a couple more folks in here in a bit. And Molasses. Cheers to all the women. So proud of my sister who just completed her master's in nursing. Wow. Yeah, and if God love her and thank her for being in healthcare, especially in this day and age. That's fantastic. Cheers to her for sure. For sure. Goodness. And I want to say, oh, and this guy, thank you, Richie. Thanks for being here, friend. I really appreciate it. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah. So, we want to kind of get into, the whiskey journey and just really what that means. And, the channel is new. I'm new. It's the second show live. And I kind of wanted to give people a perspective of where my journey started. If you saw the opening reel, you kind of get a little bit of an idea of what that is. But to start off, I actually went in 2016. I went to Scotland by myself, solo trip with a backpack. And I just decided I wanted to go see Scotland. Let my husband at home, got on a plane, spent 4 days in Edinburgh and just kind of went around and just to see the sights, no particular thing. And to give you a background, my drink of choice was usually a screwdriver. And that is because it's really hard to mess up vodka and orange juice. I mean, like, if you're in an event, you're going to get what you're going to get just about every single time. So I was touring, enjoying it. I built the entire trip around a music festival on the island of Jura. And everybody's going, Jura? Oh, I know that one. Yeah, so I did that. And so let's see if this works. I was going to Jura. We're on the West Coast, and I went through this little town called Oban. Oban is absolutely gorgeous, sitting right on the sea. And I thought, hey, there's a distillery. I've seen a couple of those since I've been in this country. Again, I didn't really drink whiskey. The bourbon that I'd had before was not my favorite. It was very sweet for my palate, for my taste, which is odd coming from vodka and orange juice, but still, it just wasn't my thing. And so I wanted to go to the distillery just to see how things worked. My work, how I pay for whiskey, as I say, is I'm a technical writer, and I work for an engineering firm. I like to know how things work. I like to know what process is. And I wanted to see the process for this distillery. Went in and I'm like, what do you mean that just these ingredients, malt, water, yeast, and putting it in a wooden barrel is going to make it taste like honey or taste like oranges or vanilla. How in the world does that happen? So I went through the entire tour and got to the end where they were going to do the tasting, and I was fascinated. I was fascinated by the grist mill. I was fascinated by the mash tun. Just that doughy, yeasty, are you with me? That smell, that ooey gooey, doughy smell from the mash tun. It just was, it was heaven. So we get to the tasting part, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this was nice because I'm surely not going to like this. But I did say, I know this is going to be strong, Leanne. Do not cough. like, buckle up and drink this. Right. And so tonight's dram for me, my starter dram that started me on my journey is, and let me flip this over real quick, is the Oban Distillers Edition. Let's see if we can get that in there. Now, this particular one is the 0317. So this is an older bottle. I was there in 16. So I brought one of these bottles home. And then this was the next iteration. Hello, I'll get back in there. So this is the next iteration of it. And I have a full review, a Camp Dram review of this on the channel. But man, you talk about good. I mean, it is just pure orange. And I guess orange, as I said in the review, to me, it's a citrus. We have satsumas in Louisiana, these tiny, like the little cuties. And that's what that dram to me is like. It's more tart than sweet. Let me know if y'all have had the Distillers Edition. It's at 43%. It's very approachable, certainly for a newbie that I was at the time. And man, it's just, gosh, I get orange on that all day, every day. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, so going back to this little endeavor of mine. So from there, I had to go to Jura, right? So to get to Jura, I drove. So I drove a stick shift, which I'm very good at doing. I grew up learning how to do that. On the wrong side of the road, sitting on the wrong side of the vehicle. And every time I would turn on a street, I would say, left lane, Lee, left lane. And I made it. I did have full insurance. That is highly recommended if you do that. So, but yeah, so I had to get to from Kennecraig. I had to get to an island called Isla. Anybody heard of that one? From Isla, I was going to drive through. I was on the Calmac here on the ferry, the big ferry. I think it had like 4 18-wheelers and like 50 cars on it. It was the biggest thing. I couldn't believe it. And way, if you could see just in the back there, that's Port Ellen with the Port Ellen maltings and the old Port Ellen distillery there on, and to the other side past the ship part, that would be where Lagavulin, Laphroaig, and Ardbeg are. And I needed to kill some time before I went and caught the ferry to Jura. So I went to a place called Laphroaig and had a dram there. And you talk about something completely different. I mean, it truly was like licking the inside of a barbecue pit, but it was delightful. Oh my gosh, I couldn't get over it. I'm like, yeah, I could deal with this. I like this. So looking at that, and then, finally getting over to Jura, I met some new people, met some new friends. Where's my cursor? There we go. Oh yeah. So on the way, I went past this place called Kilholman. Didn't stop there, unfortunately, but I found this beach and I couldn't get over how beautiful it is. Well, it's Moncure Bay. I was like, okay, all of this on my journey, I got lost so many times. And every time I got lost, I found something really cool. I got lost and I found Moncure Bay. So that in itself was really groovy. Jura, I met, I got this motley crew of bagpipe band at the Jura Distillery for the music festival. And they were serenading me there is a house that they call the Rising Sun. And I was like, y'all do know that's about a brothel in New Orleans, right? But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that's kind of how mine started. And then I came back to back home with a whole new appreciation about Scotch whiskey, because I had figured out on that trip, I figured out a lot of things on that solo trip. But the thing I also figured out was that whiskey, Scotch whiskey, was my drink. So I put away the orange juice and vodka, and Scotch whiskey has been it ever since. And then I just wanted to learn everything I could. And that brought me to these guys, two of which are on here tonight. At least I saw two of them. And we started, Mark and I, my Mark husband, we started watching the Scotch for Dummies videos. And then we started watching their live show. We would watch their video, have dinner, and then Thursday night we'd pop them up on the big screen and we'd watch the live show and chat along with them. And that's where I have met some of the best people that I know, some of the best. And many of you are in this chat tonight, and love you so much for that. So much for that. And because of that, and learning who these people are and how that, the Scotch for Dummies then led me to find Roy and the pronunciations of all those things I couldn't even say in Scotland, right? So that encountered other people that I've met. And one of those we'll bring in a little bit, because he was a conduit to this guy that we're going to bring on here in a bit. So let me shuffle some things around real quick. Cool. Let's see. So there he is. Never mind. Hold tight. Awesomeness. So I want to, through getting to know people on the chat, we always ask where you're from, and I know where most everybody's from. And Trooper Henry is from Louisiana too. And then Mark JG is from Louisiana. And I figured out that he was from Shreveport. And I would like for you all to raise your glass to my next guest. And that would be Mark Goins, the Mark JG. Hallelujah, you're here.
Well, the camera's not working, but we're just using the regular camera. So Slàinte, y'all.
Slàinte, y'all. Cheers, friend. You're here. And I'm glad for it. Thank you.
Hey, look at Richie Z. It's good to see him here.
I know. I'm gonna flip through the chat because I'm woefully behind, and see who else we have in here. Oh, Andrew Butler says, I stopped off in Oban on my way to Isla in 1997. I'm guessing you enjoyed that, Andrew. Some of the best seafood I've ever had in my life, and that's saying something coming from the state of Louisiana.
That is definitely saying something from somebody from
very well.
Louisiana.
Oh my God, the scallops are like little pillows of wonderfulness. Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, I'm not skydiving. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, I'm not skydiving either.
So
can you hear me okay? Is the microphone working?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're looking good.
Okay, good.
Definitely one of the most popular stops. It really is. I mean, it's a pretty little town. There's even a chocolate store there, but it's right the bay. So Oban has Little Bay, right? And that's because there's a little bay right there. And you can take ferries on to Jura and some other places too. I have a big shout out to, hey, Chris, good to see you. Slàinte, friend from Pennsylvania, one of the kinship of the Isla Whiskey Academy folk. Good seeing you there. And Sabrina, bonjour, great seeing you from France, friend. It is very early there. Thank you so much. Great for stopping by. And that was way over and beyond, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, so the Oban Distillers edition was definitely my my starter that opened my eyes. Steve A says the Oban Distillers edition, along with Talisker and Lagavulin Distiller edition a few years back at a tasting with respective of the sherry poured for each. Really, yeah, because this is Manzanilla or Manzanilla. I'm trying to remember which one it is, but it's a dry white sherry. So it's not a red sherry like, your sherry bombs, like your PX or your Oloroso. It's a white. So it has some of those same characteristics as a white, dry white wine as well. But yeah, good stuff. So wait, where'd it go? So we met through the chat, right, and got to know each other and said, "Oh yeah, we're we're both
Right, yeah.
from Louisiana."
So when I saw you on Aquavite's stream, you had Scotch on the Bayou there, and we kind of put two and two together, and we met. You invited me to your house, some crazy guy who liked whiskey, and you just said, "Come on over, and my husband's going to make steaks."
Yep.
And we'll have some drinks and try out some drams. And
yep.
I brought over this really incredible strawberry cake, as you can see there, with our Kilhoman port cast matured that I brought over as well. And that was one of the best pairings ever. And the steak was great too, but that pairing right there was unbelievable. And the company was good.
Yeah. So, and my husband can make a mean steak. I mean, truly so good. But these cakes from Ambrosia Bakery here in Baton Rouge are fresh strawberry cakes. So it's like a white yellow cake with fresh cream frosting and sliced fresh strawberries. And so you get the oil. Huh? Yeah, every layer. It's just so good. And with the port matured smokiness with the sweet oiliness from the cream. I mean, it was so good. It's so good. I know I still have a small bit because y'all, he left the bottle. Come on. Talk about a sweet person. He leaves the bottle and the cake. And so I got to enjoy it even more. And then, just getting to know him. And so that was in the spring because it was strawberry cake season. And then, and then we, you invited me as your plus one.
Yes.
Right.
To go down to the Crowded Barrel for the Bastards Ball. Daniel Haston's on here. He was going to get to go, but kind of some things happened. He didn't get to go. So I was like, Lee, you want to go? And just, you need to go. We'll see everybody, and it'll be an incredible time. And it was just as good. So,
well, I want to thank Daniel for volunteering his tribute so I could go. And it was a big deal. But what I want to, before we get into that, and we're going to bring our other buddy in here in a bit, I want to hear what got you started on your journey. And what are some of the
what started me on my Scotch
things?
journey was actually in Baton Rouge at the Cove. About 10 years ago, there's a whiskey bar in Baton Rouge called the Cove, and some friends of mine, they invited me to go meet them there. And I was like, I'm not going to drink any whiskey straight. That's crazy. I'm not going to do that. And so they were sitting there and they were drinking. And one of my friends there was like, here, you need to try this. And he handed me this thing, and I smelled it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's old nursing home. That's disgusting. How are you drinking that? And anybody put in the chat what you think that was that the guy handed me to drink. And I took a sip of it, and I was like, oh gosh, this tastes just as bad as it smells. And I was like, oh gosh, there's no way I could drink whiskey. And it's like, no, I don't really want to do that. So what I did is I went up to the bar, and they have some people there that are trained. And I was like, look, I'm new to this. Yes, Zach, you already knew the story, you cheater. So yes, it was Lefroy 10 that my friend gave me for the first sip of Scotch that I ever got to try. And it was 6-7 years after that before I would try any peated whiskey because it was so nasty. But I went up to the bar, and I was like, look, I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me, what do I need to try? And he was like, well, what do you like to drink? What are your flavors you like? Do you like honey? Do you like sweet? Do you like spicy? What is it you want? And he came up with a Glen Talker's 16 is what he thought that I would like. And I took a sip of that, and I was like, man, I could do this. And so I drank that. I was like, man, that's fantastic. I talked to another friend of mine. He's like, we need to try Oban 14. That would be another good one to try along with that. So I did. I was like, wow, this is good too. And then my friend who gave me Lefroy told me to try the Glen Quinta Reuben. The 12-year-old was back then. And I got that and I was like, man, I've got to have a bottle of that in my house. So for like the next 5 years, I would have one bottle in my cabinet, and it was always Glenmorangie, Quintus Reuben. And if the bar didn't have that, I would go with Belvini Doublewood.
Yeah.
And so about 6 years ago, I was like, I think I want to get in this a little more. And it just so happened that the YouTube algorithm showed up with a video from the Modern Rogue, how to drink whiskey like a gentleman. And so I watched that, and of course it's Daniel is on there with it from the Whiskey Tribe. And so then I started watching Whiskey Tribe stuff, and any bottle they said was good, I had to go get it. I went and got it, tried it, bought it, searched it out. If I couldn't find it, people online would find it for me. Daniel was one of those. Zach was one of those people that would find it for me. And my collection just grew. It was about 3 times bigger than what's back here now. I've drank all that and hadn't bought anything since COVID, really. But wow. It just became, and I started watching. No, I don't have any more 12, Daniel. I've drank all the 12. It's just 14 now. So then Aquavitae showed up on the YouTube algorithm, how to pronounce Scotch whiskey. Yep. Watched that. Then I started watching his live streams. Then he told me to go watch the Scotch 4 Dummies. So then I started watching Scotch 4 Dummies. And then all these people that were on all these shows, they all went around and we got to know each other. And that's just kind of how we kind of started hanging out. So
yeah. And that's amazing. And I love how, you showed your progression, and you went through the educational process, and you trusted people that you had gotten to know in the chats, right? And I mean,
right.
Can I get a name in for those that we kind of like better in the chats than some of the folks we know in real life,
Yeah.
And especially over the last 2 years. I mean, things like this have really gotten a lot of people through the last 2 years,
Yeah, and when COVID hit, we had a bar night with Lee and Zach. We had our whole families. We got together and we sat around Zoom, and we had a bar because we couldn't go out on our own. So
yeah. So speaking of that guy, so this, I meet you in Austin. You know, hey honey, I'm going to Isla for 2 weeks because I'm going to be at a whiskey academy. But the week before that, I'm going to go flip over to Austin for the weekend to meet some other whiskey people. So you take me over there and we meet this guy, this super guy, and his absolutely wonderful better half, I would say, for the most iconic picture that you will soon see is in someone's bar. But yeah, so Mark, Sarah, Zach, and I, it's as if we have known each other all our lives. I want to now bring in Mr. Zach Andrews into this grouping of ours. Slàinte, friend.
Slàinte, everybody. It's fantastic. I listen. I know that we all met because of the Whiskey Tribe and the Bastards Ball, but I'm also wearing a T-shirt because I have a friend of mine that I got to meet while wearing this same T-shirt. Alex, how you doing, buddy? So that just goes to show you, like, we've met up in person by happenstance sometimes, right? Poor Mark and Sarah were stuck listening to Leanne and I jibber jabber the whole ride to where this picture was taken, which was standing in the parking lot waiting for the bus to come pick us up for the Bastard Ball.
I've never met a stranger.
And yeah. And it was fantastic, right? We had such an amazing time just getting to know each other, and literally the three of us, everybody probably doesn't know this, but we have a group text that's been going on for 2 years now,
Yeah.
3 years now. I mean, it's something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, 3 or 4. I mean, it's nuts, right? But I look out at the chat and there's so many people, right?
Like,
If I hadn't met Daniel, right, through the Scotch for Dummies and having a bunch of samples lost, and him driving his samples down to me from Shreveport, I'm in Houston. He drives 4.5 hours, all these samples down. So then I just, open up all this and just says, here, you've never had Compass Box? All right, here's a whole bunch of samples.
yeah.
Here, take that, man. And Daniel and I talk constantly, it's just fantastic that we've gotten to know all of these people as well as we do. And when we meet these people, it's like it was yesterday, last time
Right.
we saw
Yeah,
each
and if it wasn't for Daniel, Zach and I wouldn't have been really good friends because he was like, hey, let's split a bottle of Kilhoma Madeira. Zach can get it for us, and we'll just split it between us, and we can see if it's any good. And then, we started talking with that, and then we became instant buddies at the Bastards Ball. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think that's really
you left like 5 bottles at my house for like 2 years.
It was like 8
bottles, not yours.
It felt like
8 bottles. Yes, 8 bottles at your house.
Yeah. Thankfully, there was no storage fee because I had a couple there too before I played like Smokey and the Bandit and went down I-10, grabbed them and hauled it back. Like, just go the speed limit. I got 2 cases of Scotch in the back of my SUV,
Girl, you had 3 cases of Scotch going back. Okay.
So,
sorry.
some of
Mark,
them
you were supposed to hear that.
some of them for Trooper, some of that was
I didn't
yours.
want the other. I just wanted one.
Right. No, but I think it's really interesting how, we've talked about our drams, and I want to know about your dram, but the point I want to make quickly is we've mainly talked about the people, not the whiskey. I mean, the whiskey was a conduit to all these people. And I just think that's so freaking awesome.
But the way I looked at it, and I had a hard time deciding what was going to be my dram. And I fawned all over it, and I just said, what? I said, what was the thing that really set off this exploration? And I don't have a bottle of the standard Lefroy Triple Wood, so I had to break out the 2019 Carches. So I have the cast strength Triple Wood, which that was the first time I had something that tested my palate and made me just kind of go, do I really like this? Yeah, this is good. Okay, I kept drinking. All right, it's not bad. It's okay. All right, went back for another Lefroy. The second that I was in Pete, I was in Scotch heaven, and really what it did was you had gone all the way as far as you could go, and now it was time to walk back and experience all the things you had ran past.
Yeah. Right? And you see George in the chat talking about how he didn't think he could ever get into Lefroy again. Well, at that Bastards Ball where I met them, there was a Lefroy tasting, and I did it just because all the other people from the Bastards Ball were at the tasting, and I took that first sip of Lefroy, and I was like, "There's no nursing home here. This is all fruits and berries and tropical fruits and all this other kind." I was like, "This is crazy." And the Lefroy 25 we had that night was probably one of the best drams I've ever had. It's crazy how your palate changes, and now peated stuff, love it. A peat head, but that wasn't the place to start for me, unlike some people.
Right. Yeah. There's some people that can start with the peat and wow, to me, I went from Oban to a very briny, citrusy type expression to I had the quarter cask then 2 days later at Lefroy. And I was like, wait, what did y'all do to this? What do you mean you smoked it with dirt? Peat? It was just such a paradigm shift from what I could even imagine, a whiskey tasting like. And it was like, well, give me some more. And I left the distillery with a quarter cask. No, a triple cask. It was triple cask I brought that one home, and then ended up at Jura and brought home a Jurix Own, that 16-year-old that's discontinued, that is just so lovely. But yeah, much so. And so when I'm gonna pop this back up. When we were all at the Bastards Ball in 19, I also got to meet this guy, and let me flip that around. Let's do that. So this guy. So this moment, this is one of my favorite pictures, y'all. Yeah, a little bit further over. There you go. Towards your, put it in front of your face, Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
mine's up there somewhere, I think.
Yeah, we were in the I don't know, what was it? It was like the courtyard.
No, we were sitting in the back courtyard.
Yeah.
Off to the
all the
side
YouTubers were kind of set up, and they were doing some live shows from there. And here's Mark, and Zach's on the other side of this guy, Mr. Roy Duff from Aquavite. And this couple from California came up, and they said, "Oh, we have a bottle for you, and it's your favorite," because we all know that Roy's a Deanston fanboy. And so it was the Bordeaux 2008, right? Oh my gosh, what a bottle. And he was, so generous and so gracious, and thanked everybody for it. And he said, as he always does, whiskey is for sharing. Popped the cork on that sucker and started pouring it out. And he is true to his word, because his evangelists were all around, and it meant a lot for him to accept that bottle. Logistically, it was going to be hard for him to take it back to Scotland. So he opened it up and he shared it with all of us. And I won't ever forget that. I really won't ever forget that.
That was an amazing experience.
Yeah. Standing there, having him pour this guy that I looked at, which I now get to call my friend, right? I'm lucky enough that I get to call him my friend. But to have him pour that dram meant so much at that time, because I viewed myself and my palate as not as good, right? And the thing that he taught me, Scotch for Dummies, test dummies, everybody said, listen, your palate is your palate. Yeah. It is good. It's yours. Can it get better? Yes. Can we help you? Sure. But you're not wrong in what you're tasting.
Mm-mm.
Can I help you point to a better adjective? Sure. Right? That makes, trick your brain into going, oh, okay, now I can find this thing over here. But it was just the sweetest thing for him to do something like that.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, it just cemented friendships, at least for us. I know it did for us, because we're all lucky enough to really get to know Mr. Roy Duff and know what a fantastic human being that gentleman is.
Yeah, he's first class all the way.
And Steve A., you were back in the corner, I think, behind us. You were saying you were in the courtyard somewhere. Yeah, you were there for sure, back in the back. I thought I saw you in the picture, but I was like, oh no, you were back behind us. I remember.
I mean, that's where we ended the night. It was me, Steve, Mark, Leanne, Roy, and if y'all don't know Roy, he's a colorful after 10 p.m. Let's just say that.
He sure is. Just as Ben from No Nonsense Whiskey, about 2 a.m. I'm gonna tell on Roy. So we're sitting at the La Quinta, and it's 2 a.m. and and Ben is like, oh, I'm knackered. I gotta go to bed. I'm going to bed, Roy. And he's like, no, you have to have, and I'm not even gonna attempt it, but it's your at the door dram in Gaelic, and I can't say it. I won't even attempt to butcher those words. But he was like, no, you have to have it. And he's like, no, I can't have any more. I gotta go to bed. And Roy, I'm gonna totally blow his demeanor, because he looks at everybody and goes, ladies and gentlemen, may I just show you a prime example of the lack of institutional fortitude of the English. Boom. I'm not going to tell you what what Ben did, but it had hand gestures available to it. And it was a riot. I mean, And we remember that, right? I mean, we're sitting here and I'm thinking about, all of the things that, where my journey has taken me. And I'm gonna flip over here real quick, guys. Hold up with me. So after the Bastards Ball, I go and trek over to Isla, and I'm in a whiskey, the opportunity to actually win a competition for a 5-day residential whiskey school, and was able to do that. And this is a picture I had for the thumbnail, because to me this is just like this journey of this path to get to Isla, to get to the stills of Ardbeg. And it just was so such an amazing venture and trip that I had with my classmates. And this was our first field trip, which was to go to the Octomore Spring, where the water source is, and these people I talk to all the time. That was, 3 years ago, and I still talk to them. And it's amazing to see who all we've met and who I've met and who's come into my journey. And that's, we don't take the journey by ourselves, right? And then, it all goes back to this past year. We were able to get back to the Bastards Ball, but Roy couldn't be there. But Flat Roy was. So Flat Roy was able to join us, and that was tremendous. It really was great. Oh. And then and from there, my friend from the Whiskey Academy, Jennifer, got to come up, and then this guy. So we had a wonderful time.
Who's the guy with all that hair? I have no idea who that guy is.
I don't know. And then in fruition, the dummies got to come to the Bastards Ball. So it was a big circle. It was just this wonderful big circle with these great smiling guys, all my whiskey buds, and just being able to share that. The whiskey tastes really good, but it tastes even better when you're sharing it with someone.
Yeah. But the best part of that weekend was that Zach missed out on the breakfast burritos. So that was
those are epic.
That was the best part.
Yeah. It should be noted that I should go to all whiskey festivals with my wife in tow.
Yes,
some things we don't talk about at the Bastards Ball. Isn't that right, Mark?
It's a new rule. It's a new rule. I should go to all whiskey festivals with my wife in tow. Yeah, because I'm much more. But it's not that I was bad behaved. I had a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and Brian was there, and it's always a good time.
Good to see Kilco there for sure.
Yeah,
there's something to be said for as much fun as the actual ball is. It's that time at La Quinta where you're just sitting around, getting to talk to everyone, getting this access to, maybe it's a YouTuber you've never gotten to meet before.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And they're just normal people.
And yes, that's exactly what you realize.
Yeah. So yes, Andrew Butler, you got it, and I'm gonna attempt it. So you're at the door, Dram.
Michael Porter, you are 100% correct.
So it's Diacondoros. Diacondoros, I think, is how you say it.
Oh,
that you're at the door, Dram. That Roy was telling Ben.
Is that like as you're going out the door, as you're leaving?
Well, we would call that a goey down here. I'm gonna have my to-go cup because that's legal in some places in Louisiana. Yeah, that's definitely it.
Oh man.
Yeah, a little bit.
Listen. I had a lot of fun. I did not make a fool of myself.
No.
Yes, I had fun. Yes, I may have one night fell out in the lobby.
Hey, we won't go there. You're on a broadcast.
For a couple of minutes, like 2 minutes. I don't know.
But yes, what happens there stays there. It's very much like Vegas.
Yeah, whatever.
Very much so.
I have no shame in my game,
but listen, when you stop and think of it, the whole metaphor of the journey and the different paths that you can take. For me, the reason I'm here tonight, the reason I know both of you, the reason I know all of these people in the chat, the reason I know the dummies, the reason I know Roy, the reason I know, the folks that I've been able to encounter, all began because I decided to stop at Oban just to see how whiskey was made. And even if you want to back up that, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go to Scotland by myself. If I hadn't have made those choices, you have the road less traveled, you have the fork in the road, and all of those metaphors of where you're going to go with this. How I cannot even imagine not knowing y'all, the two of y'all.
Me either.
I can't even imagine. I mean, to the point where I'm like, it gets to me. I can't imagine. I can't imagine not knowing Drew and Sean and Mark and Andrew. I can't imagine not knowing those folks. Or especially Jennifer. Oh my heavens. I cannot even. And I look at that as a gift, and I look at that as, okay, well, now maybe I have a forum to help somebody on their journey. And y'all have done that too tonight by being on here, So I think we have a all together dram, don't we? Getting kind of close here.
We have a closing dram that is definitely a favorite between all of us. Mark just gave it away. Richie was wondering what we were going to be drinking, and I didn't want to tell him. I told him what my first dram was. Actually, I didn't tell him what my first. I told him what my second dram was. Because you started talking about Oban. I haven't had Oban in forever, so I had to go pull down the bottle of Oban. But it did start with some Balvenie. But Victoriana, and not just any Victoriana. A 51.5 Victoriana. Yes, ma'am. We all got that same lovely Campbelltown. This one does have a little bit of barrel char on it. I did have a couple of my SMWS ones, and they don't have as much barrel char, that char note, as this one has.
I introduced you to Glen Scotia, didn't I, Lee?
What now?
Didn't I introduce you to Glen Scotia?
You did. The 15. The 15. Oh, my camp neighbor. Hey, Grace. Thanks for being here. We'll be down this weekend.
Well, Trooper Henry says there's a new batch of Victoriana out.
So I know there's two. A number two.
50. What is it? Daniel can put it in the chat. I think it's like 54 or something. He found it on sale actually today.
Wow. Yeah, if you can get it on sale, it's a non-age statement, but
man,
it's So I do have a Camp Dram. Well, it's not really Camp Dram. It's a comparison between batch 1 and batch 2. And let's just say I had to take a break in between the two cast drinks, going back and forth, because it's like at some point I couldn't even feel my lips. It was just like, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to step away here for a little bit.
Oh, looky there. Mr. Adams up in here. Hi, Mr. Whiskey Shit. Yeah. Oh, man.
So, yeah, Brian, I mean, the whiskey community is so generous. I mean, I think generous is synonymous. I think I mentioned this last week. Our little bourbon club here in Baton Rouge raised over $68,000 for Toys for Tots last year. And that's not even counting, probably close to another $100,000 for other charities. Just right here in the middle of the pandemic and doing that kind of stuff is crazy. So yeah, Mo, I think this batch 1 is 54.2. Yeah. Oh, good to see you, Mr. Whiskey Shits. Gotta love saying that. It's so awesome. Hey, so in my point of view, Glen Scotia Victoriana is a very beautiful, beautiful drink. Yeah, it really is. I totally agree. Thanks for being here tonight too. Like all the Glen Scotias, I haven't met one I didn't like. And especially the SNWS ones I've had are just money.
Yeah, I mean, I've met some that need more patience than others. But I think that's true with a lot of drams, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to have patience with it. Sometimes it's the wrong time. It's the wrong point in our journey to have that dram. Just like anybody who said that they had Lafroig really early and then they went back to it later after they had kind of been exposed to a milder version of peat.
Right.
Okay, I get it now, right? So it's definitely Glen Scotia is fantastic just for the fact that it keeps all of that Campbelltown funk, but it does it in a kind of subtler way where Springbank's bold and brash. This is a little bit understated, right? It's a little. Let me use a Roy term. It's a quieter dram.
It's a quieter dram. It is, and it doesn't. It's a Campbelltown, but it doesn't have the level of funk that a Springbank does. I mean, it's there, but
it Moorish.
You find it more funkish.
Moorish.
It's
yes.
Moorish. He does say that. I just love him. He's so cute. I want to put him in my pocket. So yeah, Glen Scotia 25. Chad, dude, I might get in a car and drive to friggin' Canada if you got this last one that they have. I don't have the distillery version of Glen Scotia 25, but when we were up with the Scotch for Dummies for their 6th anniversary, there's a fabulous store called Storied Company that they curate all of their bottles, and I got a Murray David Glen Scotia 25 that is delightful, and I have samples for you two guys. We'll get them to you as soon as I can, but I'll get the hot sauce to you.
It's not like I don't have enough whiskey,
right?
And if anybody, this is the short wall for anybody. It's this wall that's the long one.
I'll be coming down to Baton Rouge soon, so
yep, I'll have it for you for sure. But let's see.
Just say that
Daniel says,
thank you everybody for showing up. Y'all don't even understand what this means to Leanne and truly what it means to Mark and I for, to be here to support her. So Leanne, here is to, I know it's almost a year, but listen, here's to many years to come. I can't wait to be at your 5th anniversary.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have a party, friend. I'll tell you that for sure.
Oh, I know we're going to have a party.
We're going to have everybody down at the camp. Les le bon temps roulé, yeah? Thank you very much for those sweet words. This has been fun. And I got to say, I'm a little freaked out because we have a lot of people on. Last week, for my first show, I think we had 90 on at one point. It just blows my mind. But I want this to be fun for everybody. Yes, there's going to be some educational elements to it and that type of thing. Next week, we're going to be doing Irish, how original for the week of St. Patrick's Day, right? So we'll be talking about Irish, but especially from someone who's a Scotch drinker who didn't really drink Irish. So how do you get into that? So that's going to be a lot of fun. Got some more videos to come out, starting to work on those edits. But what I want to do is engage and get my whiskey friends on here, because I have found there are lots of us that are online, that are on and have shows, but the wealth of information is in this chat. It's you guys too. And that's what I want to help spread out, because you know your stuff and you're generous and you want to share. It means a lot to you when you share. And I want to thank y'all both for being here so very much tonight. We're gonna just look through some of these last comments. Trooper says, camp weekend, I'm all in. We're gonna have the Baptist pallet out there. We're gonna be sleeping on the floor. And so, operator, won't you put me through? I got to send my whiskey down to Baton Rouge. Hurry up. Won't you put Leanne on the line? I got to talk to the girl just one more time.
Wow.
Man, Chad, you're a
Oh,
poet.
wow.
I love it.
Oh, Chad.
That is awesome,
Oh.
friend. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. And you're keeping me from doing laundry. Hey, whatever I can help, however I can help, cause there, Michael. I'm here for you, friend. But yeah, so
Oh.
if you're doing Irish, yes, Whiskey Hog. It is a dram that will be drunk next week. Come see and hang out with me and Atlanta. We're gonna have a great time. But yeah, we are coming on that last time. I think it's important to enjoy your stuff than to know your stuff. Yes, Daniel. Dude, whenever I get to meet you, I owe you a dram and then some, because your unfortunate circumstance led to a really cool thing for me, and I really appreciate you taking it for the team and letting me go on your ticket to meet these guys. I really, really do appreciate that.
Well, and I want to make a toast before we go to all our whiskey friends, because all you in the chat and all of us, if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't come back. It's this friendship, it's this fun. Once you know everything there is about whiskey, you come back just so you can hang out with these people every week. And so for all those people who say hey and welcome and all that, we love you, and Slàinte, y'all.
Slàinte, y'all.
Zach, you can't leave.
He lost his light. I don't know where he is, but we're going to go on that. Thanks, everyone. Come back next Tuesday. We're going to have a great time. Mark, Zach, love y'all. Mean it. Thanks so much.
Love you.
And Slàinte, y'all.